Talk about that. Why is Black excellence a scam?
Because we often celebrate people, right, who, at the detriment of the collective, benefits the individual.
Hello.
Right? Like, if let me just be 100% real quick. How many Black millionaires and billionaires have products in the culture that we need? And that's a social good and social impact. And we will celebrate them regardless if they're doing good or not, as long as it benefits them and we're inspired by it. Because Black excellence replaced Black power. It replaced Black economics.
Well, what about to counter that? What about, okay, let's say a basketball player, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's made hundreds of millions of dollars, and he may not be, quote unquote, providing a service that is a tangible good for the community.
Yeah.
But he's up hundreds of millions of dollars, so he's able to pour into the community.
Yeah, let me, because I want to add to what he's saying, because I'm with him in line. Is there a difference between excellence and opulence, right? Because opulence would probably imply great wealth, where excellence means very good or great at.
Well, I think that for us today, Black excellence is just Black capitalism.
The more opulence.
Yes. Is that a problem?
It's a problem if it doesn't have a social impact, because we're celebrating somebody who looks like us, but they're doing the same thing as
they
other
don't
people
give anything to the community
that we say are robbing and taking advantage of us. So if you make $1 billion off giving a bunch of Black men bad contracts, and a white man makes $1 billion off of giving Black men bad contracts, they did the same exact thing. You know what I mean? But we will say you the enemy and say you my friend. So I think that it's no reason. This is the reason of it. There's no reason not to do social good.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe in capitalism?
Yeah, I believe in social capitalism.
What is social capitalism?
I mean, to where you can make a good impact and make money. You can make social good and make money, or at least try to balance it to some kind of extent. But I believe that we lazy with our capitalism.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's
like
only self-focused.
Yeah.
Are we lazy, or is that the American way?
Well, I think it's
the American way is broken. I want to speak for Keys, but the American way is broken, especially for our community.
What does it mean to be American? You know what I'm saying? it means the rob.
I'm just talking strictly on financial. Like, debt to GDP is the highest it's ever been, and the greatest economists in the world cannot figure how to reduce it to get it back to normal levels of 100% of 1-to-1 debt to GDP.
And again, I mean, you know, we all celebrate it because we all love to be inspired, and I think sometimes it's not intentional. You know what I mean? Sometimes people get in a room and they get access to a deal and they put their name on it, and that was their greatest opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so about what you do after you get real money. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you can't blame a hustler for hustling, but after you get real money,
then what?
You don't have no moral consciousness.
Yeah, and I think all of us are a prime example of that. I think we've given way more than we've earned.
Bro, when I did my tour, it cost me 6 figures to do the tour. You know what I'm saying? And if we being honest, it didn't make that much money at all. And I gave away money. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to build out the brand and I wanted to connect with the people. Right? It's not that hard to do good. I think we make it seem like it's some complex mathematical thing you got to figure out. Y'all do good all the time.
All right. Do you think most entrepreneurs are good people? Because I would venture to say most people.
At what income level?
Most entrepreneurs are doing good for the greater good. Even if you're producing nothing, you're still employing somebody. So I would venture to say, especially Black entrepreneurs, I would say the vast majority of Black entrepreneurs are doing good. I think we focus too much on a small minority.
What does doing good mean?
Employing people, putting money back into the
employing people outside themselves.
People generally spend money with people that's similar to themselves. Generally, the problem with Black people is that we don't have any money. So
we got money.
No, not really.
We don't have an economy in which we circulate.
But we don't really have any money.
Well, because of our habits.
Well, not only that's a whole nother conversation.
Wait, but who are we employing though?
Right, like okay, so
let me finish.
Oh yeah.
So you talk about Black billionaires, right? So the Black billionaires that come to mind to me is Robert Smith,
mm-hmm.
where he's poured into a lot of Black companies and then a lot of Black initiatives and a lot of things that support Black people. Don Peoples, he's cross-collaterally worked with other Black developers in real estate and has mentored other real estate developers. This is things that we know personally. So Dave Stewart, I think that it's
you said Dave Stewart?
Yeah.
Talking about Palantir?
No. That's
you talking about that's Dave Stewart.
Yeah. You talking about Alex Carter.
Alex Carter.
I think it's a misconception.
Why you keep going? I want to hear the rest of it.
we
13.
We lost a few. We have Tyler Perry, who's his words has made more Black millionaires in Hollywood than any other studio. Has employed 5,000 people on any given day. We went to his studio. We've actually seen this. He's the first person to give Cicely Tyson $1 million. He's paid Taraji P. Henson more money than she's ever been paid. Okay, now we go to Magic Johnson, who will be at InvestFest. Get your tickets,
please.
Who put economic development in inner cities when nobody would. Magic Johnson Theaters in Harlem. That's a fact. That was the first movie theater in Harlem. To my knowledge, it might be the only movie theater in Harlem to this day. South Central, all over. He put Starbucks in all Black neighborhoods. So these are people that is economic development as far as just from the standpoint of people working and having the ability to collect the paycheck, right? That stimulates the economy on a certain level. Then we go to Jay-Z. He said, I made more millionaires than the Lotto did. Wow. Dame made millions, Big made millions, Dame made millions. It's like Beans made millions. Okay, his track record. You gotta look at Rihanna. You gotta look at LeBron James, another Black billionaire who's empowered Rich Paul, who's one of the number one sports agents in the world right now, who's empowered Maverick Carter, who's become a millionaire on his own and killing it in media. The list goes on.
Here's the thing.
Let's go.
What you spoke about is Black opulence, right? So here's the thing.
No, that's not Black opulence. That's Black excellence.
That's great.
Black
excellence. No, that's not letting me go though. Not right? Because what you did was you highlighted Black opulence, great wealth, right? What you said was all Black entrepreneurs are doing good because I
said all. I said majority.
Majority.
So then even better. So even majority. When I'm asking who do we hire, we know the statistic. 85, if not higher, % of Black entrepreneurs are solo entrepreneurs. No, they don't hire anybody else.
If you do hire somebody, you're going to hire a Black person. If you're a Black entrepreneur, you do hire somebody. 9 times out of 10, that person that you hire.
How many people can't even do that? The majority of Black entrepreneurs can't do that.
Right, but that doesn't make them bad.
I'm not saying they're bad.
That doesn't mean that they have bad intentions.
I'm not saying
they're struggling financially.
Exactly. But
there are things you can give without I think what Keys is trying to highlight. I don't want to speak for you. I don't feel that.
I don't want to speak for you.
No, he's good. Ian has a very radical side to him.
Yeah, but I just think there was no systemic investment into the community. Why did it take for me in this show to come about to even give the secrets on investing? There was other people who could have did it. I talked to them. They flat out took some at conferences I met. They didn't want to do it. So I think to what Keys is like, it's great for some to develop and build businesses and enterprise, but it doesn't feel like from 2019 going back to 1990, there was a concerted effort to share the information that was needed in order to ascertain wealth.
Yeah,
fair point.
All of what you name is Black capitalism, right? But it's not Black power. There's no economic center. There's no institution that comes out of that, right? There's no mass social impact that we can count. All of our statistics continue to go down and down and down. But because we can point to the few, right, it excuses the social good that we should be focused on. It's a reason why you can look at individuals who create massive impact without having a lot of money. And it ain't about the money per se. If we make money the measurement, then of course those guys are gods. You know what I'm saying? But if we talking about morals and consciousness and the value of a better society, the quality of life for the average human being, no, it's not getting better, right? If we look at, just Black people, period, Black men, period. You know what I mean? If you know that Black men are struggling with mental health, you know what I'm saying, having the highest rate of disease, suicide, depression, anxiety, would you then come out with a product that adds to that? that tells me you don't care about them men.
What product are you referring to?
Any product of liquor, any product of gambling, you know what I mean? Any drug that you sell, any content that is meaningless without any meaningful agenda in it, right? That can stir the mind to think. Those are all products that contribute to the degradation of that society. But I will still clap for your excellence. You know what I mean? Because I at least see myself in the ability to be able to create genius, but do I even have those opportunities? Because those opportunities are still outliers, because you're not going to have the partners they have. You're not going to have the rooms that they have. You're not going to be given the contracts that they have. You understand me? But this idea of proximity to them feels something aspirational and obtainable, even though it's really not.
Yeah. I mean, we had a conversation about that the other day, actually. Yesterday.
Rashad, great counter, though.
But it was even the contracts and the deals that they're getting at that level.
Yeah,
somebody's still undercutting that, saying like they don't deserve that much. We're not giving them that much.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Are you trying to get them ahead?
And nobody, like, these are all people that I've been motivated by, inspired to. Like, let's say Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry is a complex individual, right? Because on one end, like I heard Mr. Farrakhan giving him praise about his movies. You understand me? And that made me like, man, maybe I'm being too judgmental. And then, of course, I love the fact that he's paying Taraji P. Henson money. That is great. Great as an individual, great as an actress. You know what I mean? She said that him and Oprah has bosses. So when she was talking about The Color Purple, she wasn't talking about him. Those are her words, right? But then you watch the movie, and I mean, it's a great trauma-filled movie, right? If we talking about, and I'm sure he does the studies and he has the psychological knowledge of this, right? His movies are like McDonald's. You know what I mean? It's not nutritious. You know what I mean? So if you own a bunch of McDonald's, you're gonna make a lot of money.
Which movies?
All of them? I don't watch all of them. Only the ones that I've seen.
Control was a little bit different.
A lot of
the latest one was a bit different than the Medea. The Medea
last
series.
one with I didn't watch the one Medea series. You talking about the last one?
Yeah.
The last one, again, if I look at consciousness in America, how do you help people that have because complexity is consciousness, so you can grade it by people, music, media, economics, spirituality, right? A multitude of things, and you can look across that spectrum and say if it's low functioning or high functioning, right? Now, if you want to help those people, you have to be intentional. That means you have to feed them narratives that reframe the stories that's in their mind, and you have to give them futurism, right? That sparks their imagination so they can see themselves in the future. What we do is in hip hop and in media, we say we're creating stories that's reflective of the trauma of lived experiences. But that's not actually helpful to those people. What's helpful to those people is aspirational stories so they can see a new reality. So their imagination is fed on a different outcome, right, than the mental loop that they're stuck in the first place. So yes, I can relate to it. And when we can relate to things, it makes us feel familiar with it, which makes us feel for good. I see myself. But what did that do for the psyche and the consciousness? Movies are the most powerful, like this thing called narrative warfare, right? They're utilizing the social media all the time. They're utilizing in movies. The CIA was the first to utilize movies. They utilize music. So our people know this science as well, right? The one person, we just did the event where Ryan Coogler was there. Shout out to my brother, Mr. Fab in Oakland at Thug Therapy.
Yep.
We sponsored that event because Ryan Coogler creates movies that feed the imagination. There's enough complexity in it to where it makes you think. It's a reason we had dialogue about that movie. What was the dialogue about his movies? We're not thinking. We're just processing trauma because it's a difference between triggers and glimmers. A trigger is something that makes you react to a trauma response. A glimmer is something that makes you feel good and safe. His movies make us feel safe. Not only that they killed the vampires, they went and killed the Klan. That wouldn't have happened unless he was able to greenlight his own film. And it's the reason we love that. And I love the movie Forever, the show Forever. Classic. Amazing.
Classic show.
Why? Because there was no trauma in it. You know what I'm saying? It was glimmers in the whole movie. I was looking for the trauma. All right, when Bro gonna get shot. Didn't happen.
No, love is the story.
At the end of it, I felt love. Yeah. Like, because it was a movie made to where the black man was using his logic and his masculinity. The woman was listening to him. You know what I'm saying? The son was trying to find himself, but telling his mom, like, I don't want to be you. They was finding black. They was able to speak and communicate. They showed Martha's Vineyard. Like, they were showing the complexity.
Yeah.
That's what happens when we're showing how we perceive ourselves.
Fair.
Right?
That's fair.
When other movies are greenlit by other people and they can control the editing room and they're adding in these other scenarios of savors and trauma, that's showing how they perceive us and how they want us to perceive ourselves. Right? Because when the people think that they're victors, they have victories. When they think that they're victims, right? They have problems. So if we utilizing media the same way the other math scientists have utilized it, what makes us better than them? Because we're making money, they make money too. We might as well celebrate everybody.
Rashad, you look befuddled to that, you say?
That's just his passion
The
talking.
concept is called strategic imagination.
That's just my passion. That's just my passion talking.
Nah, I appreciate
and listen, I think that each one of these people still have time to do great things. I'm not the type of person like let's kill them. It's like this is just bringing intentionality into a space to say that these guys can do that. The reason we really love Ryan Coogler because in every movie he shows us how we perceive ourselves. You know what I mean? Like Black Panther is like one of the only Black futurist films on that scale. And if it wasn't done by Ryan, it wouldn't have been done like that. He's a guy from Oakland, so of course you know.
I just knew you was gonna throw that part in. But even
you know that strategic imagination a certain way.
His directorial debut was based on trauma.
Yeah, Fruitvale though.
That was based on trauma.
It was about humanizing
the trauma.
Humanizing. It was about the story of the human, not the trauma.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was the first movie that made me cry when I watched it because I seen my brother, I seen myself. It told the story of who he was.
So those not familiar.
It wasn't about what happened to him.
If you haven't seen Fruitvale, the story of Oscar Grant, go see it.
Yeah, that was an incredible story.
I took a whole group of kids to see that movie.
You know what I mean? Like that movie hit me different. And if it wasn't made by us, it would have just been about the trauma. No, it was about humanizing the man. Black man behind it, because we hear stories of trauma all the time.
Yeah.
But who are these humans? We're so dehumanized and we calling each other YNs. And if you're a YN, it's a psyop to when something happens to you, you're not a human, so I don't care. It's the same thing they do to Ibrahim Traore, Idi Amin. They first were in a psyop, dehumanized. So when something happens, we call you a predator or something. Now nobody cares. So if we're using media in that way, and you went to media film school, you learned all the psychology, you getting all this, that means I know you're doing it intentionally or you can't do it any other way. So that means you have a boss that decides the final product. So why should we celebrate it if it's not really your interpretation of us?
19 keys.
High level conversation.
High level conversation. You'll be at InvestFest.
That is a fact.
Oh, it's going to be something different. I want to say some things, but I already stirred the pot a lot.
You know, time out because I know what. Yeah, I'm with you.
Get me into these high levels.
The last time you was here, you had the cape on.
You know, you feel me?